Hello, everybody. This is the Winning in Winnipeg podcast, where we talk to top performing business owners, executives, entrepreneurs, and local Winnipeg celebrities. We get to learn who they are, how they think, and we get to hear their perspective about what's really going on in Winnipeg and their business. Today, I have Andrea Tiopo. Andrea has been a realtor for 7 years.
Correct.
And is absolutely crushing your social media game. Andrea now has 28,000 Instagram followers and is selling some incredibly high-end homes here in Winnipeg and has now branched out into the Calgary market. Andrea is also the co-owner of a separate company called Table Space, a co-working space here in Winnipeg that gives entrepreneurs, business people, actually anyone, just office space that they need.
Place to work, a place to hold events, everything.
Yeah, that's great. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
So believe it or not, you are the first realtor that I've had on.
Wow.
Now, that's not that big of a thing, except I've worked with realtors for a long time and I know a lot of realtors.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
one of the big things that I'm really big into like sales and marketing and building brand and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And that's why I want to hear kind of about you and your how you've gone about social media, growing your brand. Yeah. I think it's really cool what you're doing. But first, before that, I would like to give everyone kind of a little background on yourself. Tell me, you're from Winnipeg, you go to school here.
Yeah.
What's your origin story?
So I was born and raised in Winnipeg.
Okay.
I would say my early 20s is kind of when I started to discover my deep desire for entrepreneurship. And I've always kind of been curious to kind of get into whether it was sales or marketing or starting a business. I think I would say that truly started when I was younger. So we can go way back or we can start from, when things really started to happen. But I would say it's always kind of been in me, but I really started to find that true passion in my early 20s when I would say when my dad first gave me my first vehicle, he was, and I've told this story many times before, but I'll just say it again because I feel like this is kind of where it all started. So I would say like early 20s, I got my first car and I was so excited.
What was it?
It was a Volkswagen Jetta. Nice. And before that, it was just like, crappy vehicles that my father would just gift me. And I was so grateful for them. But this is it was one of the nicer ones. Okay. So he ended up giving that to me. And as soon as he gave it to me, he said, "What are you going to do with this vehicle?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to drive it, of course. Like you gave it to me, so I'm going to drive it." He goes, "No, you're going to sell this vehicle and you're going to make some money. You're going to make some cash." So he's a mechanic, by the way. Okay, so, he saw the opportunity there. And I said, "Well, like how much cash are we talking? Because maybe I'll do it." He's like, "You'll make a couple $1,000s. Okay, great. Sure. I'll sell it tomorrow and I'll be carless." Sold it. Okay. I was carless. He said, "Go buy another 2 cars. We'll fix them up and you can sell them." And I started doing this over and over again. Nice. I did this about 15 times in my early 20s. Really? And I would say it was between that and then starting up my jewelry business. Also in my early 20s, I had that when I would say in my college years. It was one of the early startup businesses that I did, and it was great. It gave me, I'm wearing, some of the stuff that I had before in the past.
Are you still doing it?
I'm not, no. So it's a lot, it's a lot to do everything. But I was doing that and I was selling jewelry, I was working, and then...
Those are the vintage pieces.
Some of these, yes. Some of them are, yeah. This one actually is.
Circa 20...
2013.
15? Yeah, okay.
2013, okay. Yeah. And so then it kind of just snowballed into, okay, so, I can sell jewelry, I can sell cars, what's next? And I think that's always been my life motto. Okay, what's next? What can I do? And then I got my real estate license in 2015, March 2015. And I knew that kind of going into real estate that I always wanted to have my own brand. I always wanted to kind of, have and take advantage of the tools that we were given at the time, which was social media. And, it was something that I knew was important because I saw that a lot of realtors weren't really putting an effort into social media at the time. That was early 2015.
Yep.
And so it did allow me to grow a big following. And, prior to that, I was also blogging. So I've just always liked sharing and, I've always been a multifaceted individual, I guess you could say.
What were you blogging about?
I was blogging about lifestyle, DIYs, just things that I was passionate about, really.
Nice. Yep.
It was on Blogspot. So it was, if anyone remembers Blogspot, this
Going
is
back a little bit.
Yeah. So that was, I would say, the start of everything. And that was what really kind of brought this large audience to my page on Instagram, and people started to follow me because of that. But yeah, so I would say that goes way back. Fast forward now to, I think right now I'm in very much a pivotal point in my career where I am, I have 7 years under my belt in real estate. I am looking at the next thing for myself and what can I do, to take my business to the next level. And so for me, it was kind of like, I want to expand, I want to grow a team. And then Calgary became an option. And I just said, why can't I do it all? I started a co-working space here, which is all about co-working, collaborating, networking. And that's what I'm all about as well. And so starting a team here allows me to collaborate with other individuals, other realtors, and allows me to also take the business that I built for the 7 years and, and then it just have a team to help me expand now into another market. So that was kind of a long introduction to get us to where I am today. But
there's a lot in there, and we can dive into it.
Yeah.
Did you have any jobs before you were 20?
I did. Yes.
Okay.
What were they?
Yeah.
My first job was at Canadians. I was a banquet server.
Okay.
I was 15, which I don't even know if I was allowed to work at 15.
That's
but
fantastic.
It's all good,
Yeah.
And I was in the serving restaurant industry for, I would say, 5 years, starting from 15 to my early 20s. So hosting, serving, all of that, which I think are invaluable skills that I think a lot of people should try, just to, especially in your early 20s, you're trying to figure out who you are, you're trying to build those social skills.
Yep.
So I worked in restaurant industry.
Working in the restaurants, I think I'm going to make my kids get a job in a restaurant because there's a lot of things that you got to juggle all at one time, especially serving. Yeah. Because serving, you got to deal with people.
You got to deal with people. You got to deal with, you have to think on your feet. You have to juggle a lot.
Yep.
Yeah. It's great.
I really like it. Was there a time where you actually thought about, being employed for somebody else versus I want to start my own thing because?
No. So after working at the restaurant industry, I said, hey, I do want to try to get into maybe the fashion industry. I was really passionate about that. So I ended up working retail for a year and I hated it.
Okay. Yeah.
It was retail and also working in an office job in don't want to say the name, but fashion industry here in Winnipeg, local. And so I realized that was not for me. I just have always, I figured out early on that I just never really wanted to work for anyone else. And my dad had always, I guess, instilled in me that, don't work for anyone else and be your own boss. And so that's always just been in the back of my brain. And I think going through those few years kind of working in retail as well helped me figure out that that's just not what I wanted.
Yeah.
and that I needed to just really hustle and grind and, make something of myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those really bad jobs, I think, are fantastic because they really push you to never, ever be in that position again.
That was a tipping point for me. I was just like, never again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where did the realtor license come from? How did that come about?
So in 2015, that's when I started to figure out real estate is interesting to me. I do like that there's, so many different ways that you can go about it. like I said, I've always been somewhat of an entrepreneur at heart. And so just seeing all the possibilities in what I can do to kind of create this and make it a bit of a business for myself, that was interesting to me. And there was always a challenge to, okay, how can I make this better? How can I make some changes and disrupt the industry and, do things different. So that was the main thing, the interior design. Of course, I love interior design. I love sales, and I love just talking and helping people. Helping people is in my nature. And so, all those things combined just kind of led me to, okay, I think this is probably, the career that is meant for me, that I should be doing.
Yep.
And yeah, so that's kind of how it all happened.
Right. Real estate is not easy.
No.
It is one of those things where a lot of it is sink or swim. Why do you think what would make a realtor fail?
I would say not having a strong mindset. Like, you really need to work on your mind and really just push through in this industry. Like, there's going to be hard times, and some people allow those hard times to just, they just can't get themselves out of those hard times. They give up. They give up after the first couple of years. There's something like 80% of realtors fail in the first 2 years. And I think that, you kind of just have to keep pushing through. Like, these are, you can't let these things that happen, because it's going to happen a lot. There's going to be hard personalities. There's going to be difficult situations that you have to deal with. And, you can't take those things personal. You kind of just have to, put that aside and continue pushing forward and have that deep desire to succeed. And you will never fail.
So. It is not an easy place. Well, I mean, all of entrepreneurship is never easy, but so one of the things I like about podcasts is that anyone kind of listening, whether they're 18 and wondering what to get into, or they follow you on Instagram, or, maybe they're thinking about a change in career, and whether they're, motivated, scared, whatever, they can listen and really see themselves in pretty much any point of your journey, right? So you mentioned mindset. What kind of stuff do you do, or have you done, or anything to strengthen your mindset?
So I think listening to podcasts and constantly just educating yourself. Like, there are certain podcasts that I listen to, and certain little tapes. I used to listen to CDs like back in the day, early on when I started my career.
Yep. You're as weird as I am. Good for you.
Yeah. And so I would listen, and because that's all I really had back in the day. Like, podcasts weren't huge, which I make it sound like I'm so old, but I was listening to CDs, and I would listen to the same CD that was something like $1 Million Mindset or something like that. And I would listen to that all the time. I think I listened to it 10 times. And so a lot of these skills were just in my brain, because I'm like, I don't really want to listen to the radio. I am going to listen to something that can help me and educate me. And that was kind of the start of it. And every year since then, I'm, always looking at ways that, okay, what can I do how can I educate myself? First of all, like audiobooks, reading books, podcasts. That's one thing that I do to just like really, help me and ground myself. Taking the time to also, like being in this career, especially now being in my going into my 7th year, there's a lot of things that can happen, and there's a lot of different situations, and like I said, personalities that you have to deal with. But it's so important to just take the time to sit with yourself and be with yourself, and just let it all out. And also I say, having that like deep thought to be able to not let these things get to you, but just through you. So, I think that having that time away from all of it. Like I always say, I love being around people. I am like the most introverted, extroverted person you'll ever meet. I'm like, I love being around people and I love being, you know, in that environment, but at the same time, like I just like need to be alone sometimes, and I need to just ground myself and come back to myself. And you know, I think entrepreneurship really is kind of a spiritual journey. Being a realtor as well, like you're an entrepreneur at the end of the day. You're trying to figure out, you're trying to learn about yourself, and it's just learning what things kind of, you know, whether it's things that piss you off or things that make you happy. It's really about trying to find who you are deep down inside and really coming out with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, it's tough when I look, what do we have here in Winnipeg? 2,500 realtors or something like that?
Yeah. I want to say probably 28, roughly around there, but yeah.
Right. So to really stand out from the crowd, to not, you know, to not let other voices kind of either, you know, detract you from something or lead you one way or whatever it is, right? To find your own path. Like I can imagine that that's not easy in a crowded space.
Exactly. And for me, like I'm, you know, starting Table Space, that wasn't easy for me either. Like that was, you know, something that took a lot of time and energy, and especially going into, you know, 2020, March 2020, that's when things went crazy.
The world stopped.
The world stopped, and you know, it wasn't the easiest time for being a business owner, plus being a realtor and trying to figure that all out. You know, like that was a really hard time for me, but I had to pull myself out of that and just, okay, like I'm doing this. I just know that this is for the greater good, and I know it's going to serve and help the community. I just need to like figure it out and push through and know that, you know, the real estate is going to take off as well. So, you know, So
how did Table Space come about?
Table Space came about. So I was introduced to my business partner back in early 2019. We ended up starting, having these conversations early in the year. She had introduced me to the idea of Table Space and co-working in general. And I was already very familiar with the concept of co-working just because, you know, for me, I'm, you know, when I'm traveling, I see all these different places. And so all these other places have co-working spaces. I know we have some here, but, you know, nothing that really stood out to me or made me want to go. And so we saw the need of having a co-working space in the city, and we acted very quick. So
Great location.
It was, yeah. So we ended up finding this spot June, July. No, sorry. We started looking at places June, July. We found this spot in mid-August, and we did a 6-week renovation. We opened September 30th, 2019. We opened our doors, and it was a complete 3-level, like 6,000 square feet renovation.
A big boy.
It was a big one. Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah. It was intense. So yeah, that's how it all started. And we saw the need for collaboration and co-working and a place for entrepreneurs. Like I said, I was kind of an entrepreneur myself prior to this, and I was working at coffee shops and I was working from home, and there was never really that place that I can go to that was kind of like a mix of both. And so, you know, we saw that there was a need for that, and we wanted to be in somewhere like Osborne just because of the location. You know, we love Osborne. It's vibrant. There's energy there. It's condensed. There's, you know, creativity flowing, and, you know, we love it there. So
close. It's close to everything.
Everything.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So
very nice.
Yeah.
I think that's it. That's a really good spot, and to know that you opened when you did, like that's a crazy story. And especially because, you know, you guys are still going.
Yeah.
Right. Like
we made it through.
That's a huge testament to, not the business itself, but more it speaks volumes about you guys, because it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
Right. Any business owner knows.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's some that did extremely well, but
yeah, totally.
So you're, I think one of the things that is probably helping you a lot is your experience with social media. Take me through how, how did you view social media early on? Did you start on Instagram? Was there other things that you pushed? How did you decide what platform, what posts, how did you educate yourself on it?
So I started off, I would say on Instagram, like that's where it all started. And then from there, I didn't really know, like, you don't really know how, like, I kind of have an idea, but like, if you saw the branding that I had in 2015 to where it is now, I would like, it's funny because I'm like, that is not what I envisioned.
Are we talking 5th iteration or like 37th iteration?
Okay, maybe not 37, but like 20th.
Okay, yeah,
like
fair.
It's gone through some evolutions for sure. And so you never really figure it out all at once. And starting off with Instagram, I then knew that, there was somewhat of a journey that people would find you on. So how do I make this journey make sense to people? Okay. And I call it like your digital footprint. So whether they find you on Facebook or on Instagram, like, people are smart and they're going to do their research on you and they're going to find you on all different platforms. And, having that messaging make sense and consistency was very important for me. And so I would constantly kind of like do makeovers on every single platform, and I would do this all myself because
who else is going to do it?
Who else is going to do it? Yeah. And I'm also very particular about certain things that it was hard for me to let go of that side of my business to somebody else because I knew what I wanted, and it was hard to just...
It's like an extension of you.
Yeah. And, it's hard to just let that go because people also like authenticity, especially on Instagram. And so I couldn't just hand that over to somebody and say, hey, just schedule a couple of posts a week, take over. Like, no, that's not going to work for my page. And I know that. Yeah. And so I stayed true to, who I was on my platform. And, I still post fashion, I still post interior design, and I post real estate. And I do that because I know that, maybe majority of my followers, that's the reason why they follow me. And then real estate is just kind of what I do. You know what I mean? And so I try to kind of blend not so much my personal life, but at least a little bit for people to know who I am without, diving too deep into the personal life. So I try to keep some of that separate. And so I think like just sharing a little bit more of what my passions are allows people to kind of see a little bit of insight into me, which then makes me relatable, which then allows people to, I constantly get people coming up to me and saying, I just feel like I know you. And I feel like, I know we've never met before, but I just feel like I just know you through your social media. And that's what I want. I want people to be able to just approach me. And so I think that I knew that was very important. And I think just realizing now how even more powerful it is, just with the last couple of years, how it's been able to help me grow my business. I've been able to attract clients rather than chase them. And I've never wanted to do that. I've never been, a door knocker, a cold caller. None of that worked for me. And I've tried it. It doesn't work for me personally. And I know that there's other ways that you can scale your business and attract clients. And so this was a way for me to do so.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How have you seen a big shift in not only what you're doing on social media, but are there things that you've noticed have changed on social media over?
Yeah. I mean, TikTok is a thing now, which is something I'm still trying to adjust to. Okay. It's not like, it's not the easiest platform to just jump on and start making content. Yeah. Like, my brain only goes to so far when it comes to, being creative. Like, some people are just so good on that platform and they are so creative. I'm like, you need a whole production. I need a whole production team to be able to record content. You know what I mean? So, I think that, yes, it's definitely changing. Like, video is one thing that is becoming more of a prominent thing to be on top of in this world right now. So I think that that's one thing I need to get, just jump on and just do it. I know that. But I would say, video and YouTube, TikTok, all those platforms are extremely powerful right now. And you can grow and you can get more exposure. And I think that, it's free. So it's like, why not just get into it?
It's a huge return on investment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with the 2,800 realtors out there, what are you seeing? And please don't name any names. What are you seeing that some realtors are doing on social that is just not working? Like where would somebody go wrong on social?
I think that, you've seen this for many years where, you follow someone and all they posts are homes. That's for me a complete turnoff. Like I don't want to follow someone to just see homes. I will go on the MLS to see homes. I don't want to see homes on my Instagram page.
Yep.
It's nice to be able to mix it up a little bit here and there, but I think that would be the number one thing that is just a complete turnoff, is just seeing homes on your feed. What else? Just maybe, and I know that I'm bad for this too, especially as of late, not showing my face enough on video, not being not recording more like behind the scenes or doing things that show my face, because I'm busy. And honestly, sometimes I'm just lazy. I'm like, I just don't have the energy right now. You're busy, you're just running around. The last thing I think of doing stuff, I'm actually working. I'm actually doing stuff. And it's hard for me to just be like, okay, let's turn the camera on and start recording. You know what I mean? So I do think it's very important just to carve out that time, a few hours a week, a few hours a day, just to be able to do that, because I know it's important. So I think that that's another thing.
That is where, you hit it right there, is that me too. I'll go days with being like, oh no, I haven't recorded any of this cool shit that I've done over 2 days, or, however long it is. We'll be on site, we'll be building something incredible. And I won't record it, and I won't explain it to people. And I won't,
it's like these opportunities are just, you miss them.
In hindsight, right? You're like, that would be so cool. And so for me, I know that I'm having to change my mindset as far as that is part of my work, right? Like it's my responsibility to show this as, in marketing and bringing in leads and business development. That is my responsibility. Until you have the little videographer following you 24/7. You have to do it.
I like that, just making it a part of your business and part of your business plan to do the marketing and to have that video and, education behind that as well, because I think it's important. Yeah.
So on your social, you mentioned real estate, fashion. Clearly, you think about marketing, you think about branding. Now, is this just part of is it just, I need to do this now and I need to do this, and it's becoming all this, all of these things that you're doing? Or is there a specific plan as far as how to monetize certain things, right? Like my brain can't get around monetizing fashion. I can't figure it out. There's some people are very creative on social, where I legitimately have no idea how they're doing it, and they're monetizing it, and it's been amazing. So, is multiple sources of an income, was that part of your plan at all, anywhere? And, take me through it a little bit.
Yeah, totally. Multiple sources, multiple streams of income like that, I think is to get ahead and to really do something. You definitely need to have that, relying solely, especially with inflation now, can't really rely on one source. I mean, you can, if you're but you have to be able to know how to invest that money and be able to be strategic with that money to have it work for you. And so I've always been able to I've always wanted to, I should say, have multiple streams. Just, I've always wanted to dabble in certain things. And I think that everything that I'm doing right now is intentional to kind of work towards what my big goal is. And, I only think so far out, but I do see where I am, 10 years from now, like 5-10 years from now, I do see that life. And so what I try to do is, reverse engineer that and what do I need to do to get there, and what where do I need to dabble in to be able to do that. So for me, I do have multiple, and I think it's important just to not put all your eggs in one basket. Yeah.
Is what you're building, like, where is Andrea Tiopo in 10 years? What are you building?
I want to build a little mini empire, I would say, something that will allow me to, make an impact and show people that it can be done. And, you can be a multifaceted individual in real estate and not just be a realtor. You can be an entrepreneur. You can, be traveling the world. You can be into fashion. You can do all the things. It doesn't have to be you're just a realtor.
Yep.
And so I want to be able to showcase that and show people that it's possible. And so for me, 10 years from now, I want to have, as I'm not sure if you know, but as of recently, I just joined over to a company called EXP Realty.
Okay.
So that was also a big shift and a big move in my business. Okay. And so I think doing that alone has allowed me to open up even more doors in what I originally thought my plan was going to be. And so this company now has will allow me to be able to have another extension of revenue just in my business on joining that company alone. Okay. And so it's a very interesting concept that I think a lot of people will start to realize soon enough, because it is disrupting the real estate industry slowly but surely.
You're not the first one that I know that's gone over there.
Yeah.
Right? Why is that? Why is it disrupting the status quo?
So, right now there's the traditional real estate brokerage models. You've got your brick and mortar, you've got all of that. Mm-hmm. But right now I would say you don't really need an office space. You don't. You are constantly on the road. You're on your computers. That's the number one thing I think that a lot of people would say they miss or they need in an office space. And this company is cloud-based, so you don't have an office space. They actually conveniently work out of table space here in Winnipeg. And so,
look at that.
I've got both my companies in one place, and it's great. But, they have what's called revenue share. They have stock options. They have, great splits. And the one thing for me that made me want to make the switch is because I'm tapping into a totally different industry or different market now. And so I'm now going into Calgary, and, when you work for an individual brokerage, you've got your fees, you've got your individual broker fees. There's just a lot. Then you've got your splits on top of that. Okay. So, I saw this model, and it's just one umbrella. It's just you're paying one split no matter where you are. If you get licensed, in 5 other cities, mm-hmm. you're paying one split. And that's what I liked, because it removes all location barriers. It allows me to be able to, if I wanted to, open up in Vancouver, open up in Toronto. Calgary is the first market that I'm tapping into, and okay. I plan on taking over. Beautiful. Slowly but surely mm-hmm. Set those foundations in each city and be able to sell anywhere I want. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, because this is the Winning in Winnipeg podcast, let's dive into Winnipeg a little bit. And what do you think what is it about Winnipeg that you love that's kept you here? I know you grew up here, but nothing made you stay, right? Mm-hmm. So why did you choose to stay in Winnipeg and initially start building here?
I think Winnipeg has some incredible entrepreneurs. There's something about this city that like entrepreneurs are just bred here. It's amazing. There's so many talented people here, whether you're in the beauty industry or you are doing real estate. I know a ton of just like real estate developers, even yourself, like you guys are crushing it. You know what I mean? So I think that there's a lot of talent here, but I think the reason why there's a lot of talent is, and this might just be, I don't know if you agree with me, but there's not a whole lot to do here. It's Winnipeg, it's a small city. So a lot of people are just focused. You're focused on your work. You're focused on just, honing in on your craft because you don't really have very many distractions, right?
It's COVID every winter.
You're
50 outside,
trapped inside. Yeah. And yeah, so I think that it's like that alone just allows more entrepreneurs just, they have more time to think. They have more time to just like curate their craft. And I think that like Winnipeg is just a really great market to even start a small business, to just test things out. For myself, testing out table space just to see if it works and to try to, hone in on that model and make sure it works before expanding anywhere else. I think this is just such a great city to do that in. But yeah, I think Winnipeg is incredible in that way that, everyone here is so supportive. It's a small community, big town, small city vibes. And I think that, that just allows people to be just more supportive of each other here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I hear about, the people a lot, right? Mm-hmm. What have you noticed, especially expanding into Calgary? Mm-hmm. Do you notice a difference right away? Or is there specific things that, that people kind of, is everyone on the surface the same and then they differ, or are there really big differences between Winnipeg and Calgary?
I would say Calgary, what I've found so far, and mind you, I've only really tapped in, I've been there since June. Mm-hmm. It seems very collaborative. Mm-hmm. Like everyone just wants to help. Everyone wants to, network and get together. And whether you're in the same industry, it doesn't matter. Like we're here to kind of learn off of each other. Okay. Do you know what I mean? And I find that here it's kind of hard to do that. It's a little bit more closed, a closed community, which is, fine. But that's why I like collaborating. And that's why I like, start a table space. And so, the people, I think both are generally the same. Like, everyone's great. I love people, but it's more so that the opportunity is much greater in what I want to do personally out there. Yeah.
Did you always believe that you would be successful?
Yeah.
Was that ever a doubt in your mind? Was that something that you even thought about?
I would say more so recently. Not recently. I mean, in my early 20s, I just knew like I'm going to do great things and I'm not going to fail and I'm not afraid to fail. And, I know I'm going to be successful. And that was just always in the back of my mind. Like, wherever I was in my journey, that never discouraged me. I know sometimes it was hard, but I just knew there was a bigger picture. I knew that there was something bigger that I was working towards. And so that just kept me going forward and pushed me to just keep going. You know what I mean? So I would say it's always kind of been in the back of my mind that I can't fail. I can't do it. I won't let myself fail. And I ultimately, like, when do you stop? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Like it's hard to say. Maybe when I'm old and have white hair, who knows?
Well, I think you said it right there is I personally think that the only way to fail is to stop.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just keep going, like, you can have as many failures as you want, but you keep getting up and keep doing it.
Totally.
Like it's you're bound to win eventually.
Yeah.
Right.
If you keep going and you keep pushing through, you're gonna win.
So, do you think that was just intrinsic? Did you have any mentors growing up? Was that family? Was there books? Like I know you talked about the podcast. Was there anyone very significant in your life that worked on that side of your mindset?
I had a few, I would say, not direct mentors, but a few people in my life that I think helped me with just trying to figure that out for myself. And, I think it's also going back to my upbringing and, my family, they're immigrants. And so they came to Canada not really having a whole lot. And so just seeing how they were, how we were raised kind of, brought me to, okay, I don't want to have to struggle like that. I want to be able to provide for my family. I want to be able to, take care of my family and not ever have to worry. And so for me, it was a combination of that plus being, being a girl and having to just break these industry standards, sorry, a woman, having to break these industry standards to say that, I can do it. I am not worried, but I can do it and not allowing these things to get to me. So yeah, I think that it's a combination of everything, but yeah, definitely I had some mentors in my life, people that I have kind of had mentors a little bit for everything, for life and for business, friendships, and, just having that support system has allowed me to kind of, push through, I think, because that alone, not having the right support system, having people, who don't support your ideas, who don't support you, when you're out there trying to grind, that's really tough. And I've always really had people that, cheering me on in the background saying, I know you're busy and we're here, so don't worry. Like we're here to support you no matter what. And that's I think so important.
Yeah. Completely change of topic here.
Yeah.
Top 3 places in Winnipeg. Restaurants, attractions, you name it.
Okay, so
other than table space. You can plug it as much as you want, by the way.
Okay, that's fine. I won't. I've talked about it a few times already. Restaurants, I was just there and I was just mentioning this to my partner the other day. I love Pizzeria Gusto. It's just like my spot. I just love it there. And, I might as well be an ambassador at this point because it's just, I love it.
You have a card.
They might as well give me a card at this point.
Yeah. It's delicious.
It's so good. So restaurants, I would say there.
If you had to go anywhere in Winnipeg to just enjoy what you would consider Winnipeg, where would it be?
I would say like the Hargrave Street Market, I think, is a really cool addition to the Winnipeg downtown. That's always really nice to see. It's especially in the summertime, it's lively. There's live music playing. People are outside enjoying. And for Winnipeg, we haven't really had anything like this before. And so, for me, even now, I would go out and bike around there and it would just be so cool to see, I don't even feel like I'm in Winnipeg anymore.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. So go there in the summertime and just take it all in. They've got live music. It's so nice to see. The Forks. I don't know. The Forks is always a good one. It's a staple in Winnipeg. And I think that would probably be the one thing that if I really wanted to just, take me back to the Winnipeg days, that would be the place.
I want to feel a little Winnipeg today.
Yeah.
Looking back over some of this stuff and trying to, help anyone else that's either starting a business or jumping into a career. What's something that you would tell either the 18-year-old Andrea or the somebody else jumping into here that you wish somebody would have told you?
So someone who's starting off wants to get into real estate right now. I think that go find a mentor, find someone that, that you can provide value to as well. I think those are invaluable skills that you can just learn straight from the source. So I would say be a sponge and learn everything not just what they're doing, but go out and learn, other tools and other from other people and as well, just to see what everyone else is doing.
What's valuable to a seasoned realtor?
To
Like what can somebody who's really just starting out provide? What can they do to provide value for a really seasoned realtor?
Well, if you're like me, I'm complete, just all over the place. I just need things. Okay. So for example, when it comes to, and it depends, like if you want to be a licensed assistant, that's different than being an unlicensed assistant. So being an unlicensed assistant, there's a lot you can do, doing the running around. So dropping off feature sheets, putting up for sale sign or not for sale signs or open house signs, grabbing or picking up lock boxes, dropping off checks and things like that. Like those are all things that take up a lot of time in a realtor's day. We don't really have time to do all that running around. And so just saying, hey, do you need help? What can I help you with? I'm willing to do anything, whatever it is you need. And actually right now I am mentoring someone she's 18 years old.
Fantastic.
And that's what I love. I love being able to help people. And so she actually has a high school program. She's in high school. She's just finishing high school.
Okay.
That they allow you to have 100 hours with whatever place of work you decide to go to. It's volunteer hours. And so, it's amazing. And she decided to want to, get mentored by me. And that's exactly what she's doing. What do you need? How can I help you today? And she wants to get into real estate. And so she's doing the right thing by reaching out to someone who has the experience and adding value to them as well. So I would say, that alone just will help you and help the realtor in themselves.
Yeah.
So that's, getting into entrepreneurship, I would say, like I said, it's a spiritual journey. And so, you really are just trying to find yourself and figure it out. And, you kind of have to be open to all opportunities and all possibilities and being able to just navigate through certain times. Do you know what I mean? Like, especially with what happened in the last 2 years. So, having a strong mindset and being able to work through that is important.
Spiritual is a good word.
It is,
because it really is. I've had people ask me, how was your day? Well, I used to be a firefighter for 11 years. I quit 4 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So I was talking to a firefighter the other day and he said, how's it going since you quit?
Yeah.
I said, you know what? One day you're on top of the world. The next day, the world is falling apart and you have no idea how you're going to put it together. And then the next day after that, it's amazing again.
Yeah.
It's just this roller coaster of emotions.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I just had that. So, a couple of weeks ago, it was down. Can't do this anymore. It's tough. And then this week, things are great. So you really have to go through the motions and know that things are going to work out just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you like people to know about realtors that you think that most people don't?
That we work very hard. I think, especially with these shows out there, make it look so easy. We work very hard, and there's a lot of things that we do behind the scenes that people don't really see, especially just to say, for example, like having a listing, there's a lot that goes on to that. There's a lot of preparation. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. That
probably most of it, right?
All of it is all behind the scenes. You don't see it. All you see is the finished product.
That's right.
All you see is the home once it hits the market, right? And so I think that's one thing that some people don't get to see, and maybe myself, like I should do a better job at actually showing more of that and showing what really goes on behind the scenes when you've got a listing, when you've got a buyer, all the paperwork in between. Like, what does that look like? Growing a team, scaling, if people are interested in scaling. Do you know what I mean? So there's a lot of behind the scenes, and we work very hard, and especially in this last 2 years, especially being a buyer's agent, like we were talking about before this, is very tough right now. So Be nice to your realtors.
Well, we'll have to get a 2-for-1 on videographers so that they can show all your behind the scenes.
Yeah.
All of my behind the scenes.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Now, when you knew that you were coming on here, is there anything that I haven't asked you that, you thought that I should have?
I kind of had an idea of what you'd ask me. So I don't know. I think you probably asked me everything that I thought you were going to ask me.
Nailed it. Well, that's great. Well, you did fantastic. I think that I appreciate you being the first realtor that I've had on here.
Yeah.
I think that your social media is fantastic. I think that it's only going to grow because it is, you can tell that it is authentic content that you like. Right, that you're passionate about. I really like seeing social media accounts, and I keep saying that word, whether it's Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or whatever.
Yeah.
Where people are passionate about things that I don't understand or that I have no idea about.
Yeah.
Like fashion's one of them.
Yeah.
Was it people that love shoes and shoes are huge, sports cars, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like I just like when people are passionate about it. You're right. People get to know you.
Yeah.
They get to trust you. So I think you're doing a phenomenal job there.
Thank you.
And I really think that your mindset is probably your strongest asset. And I think you're going to be very successful. And I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was so fun. This is the first podcast video type thing that I've done before. So I think that this is awesome. Thank you for having me.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too.